Hello gamers, Matt Lemke here with Eric from Malifaux. I'm sorry, from Wyrd Miniatures, representing Malifaux at Gen Con 2012. And Eric's going to talk to us about the process of switching from pewter to plastic minis.
Yeah. Well, the initial issue was obviously pewter is not staying. The prices are going up almost nonstop, and even year over year, it's 50% increase in the cost of metal. So it's really unsustainable. And at the beginning of the year, we were really looking at this issue of either changing our manufacturing process or having the bitter pill of just a 50% price increase. And for our business model, there wasn't really any other choices. So yeah, we decided to go to plastics, pretty much as our main manufacturing. And we were sort of lucky because there's been a few other companies that have done plastics and changed over to plastics in the last year or two, and we could sort of see their successes and failures and learn from them. So we, started that process with clear goals in mind about the quality and the prices, and after a lot of research, we came on what we think should turn out very nicely.
So now, without giving us too much information on the cost and stuff, like a ratio of one mini to one, let's look at a character, for example. Mm-hmm. One character from pewter to plastic, how much money do you save, percentage-wise, roughly, in your production?
Well, I mean, the big thing is that the production of the molds for plastics, and we're doing plastic injection molding, high pressure, dense plastic. The production of those molds is far, far more expensive than doing for metal molds. On the bright side, those molds, they're solid aluminum as opposed to a rubbery material. So these solid aluminum molds will basically last forever. So while you have to replace metal molds frequently, when you get to a certain scale, in the long run, you're going to actually come out okay, even though the upfront investment is really quite severe.
So when you say long run, roughly how many minis would you have to net? Well, I'm sure the molds are different sizes too,
oh, yeah.
So I guess that's a loaded question.
There's no real clear single answer to that.
It's different from mold to mold.
But yeah, I mean, until we got, we've been growing year over year pretty dramatically, and until this year, our level of sales couldn't really justify the switch over. But we sort of got to that tipping point with our fan base, and so we were able to make it happen.
That's a good thing. Now, you have a couple of the plastics you can show us, so why don't we just hold them up, and then we'll go over there in a second, and we'll go.
Sure, yeah. So this is just a couple from the new 10 Thunders faction, and this is the one I've been showing people the entire show, and you probably won't be able to see it on the camera from this direction, but like this one has a really thin little spear, which you can literally, we'll do this up close, but you can literally bend it 90 degrees and it just flips right back up and is pretty much undamaged. So it's we pretty much did the research on how to get as hard and as resilient a plastic as we could possibly use, which was still paintable, because there's harder plastics, they just are super slick and don't take paint.
And that's because of the release material, right? Not so much the plastic.
Well, it is a lot of plastic. I mean,
it's the oil in the plastic.
Yeah, basically. I mean, basically, plastic is oil. So
yes, that's why cats like you.
So we spent a lot of time talking about formulation, and we came up with a mix of high impact polystyrene and ABS, which is tough and resilient.
Of course, it's Malifaux, so the minis have a ton of detail, and you probably don't need to do this, but a lot of people think that resin offers a higher quality on minis. Is there any chance you're ever going to do any resins?
We've actually done some resins.
Oh, I
some of our
I feel bummed.
Some of our avatars, we haven't done a ton. Some of our avatars that we came out with last year.
Oh yeah,
we're just such big kind of chunks of that just the metal cost alone wasn't going to be doable. So we did like the main body in resin, and we had like arms and metal and stuff like that. And we actually found we like this stuff better in terms of detail. I mean, resins have some issues with bubbles. Resins are really toxic, so you don't want to breathe or eat them, especially when you're filing them down. much more so than plastic. And
And they use a different mold too, right? They don't use the aluminum.
yeah, they use molding process much more similar to metal, which is nice because you can use it to keep your costs down, but also one of the advantages of this is you can get a ton exactly the same, no bubbles, because it's high pressure injection. So you really never get bubbles. You will see very, very few miscasts. And it just works out.
So injection doesn't spin at all.
No, it's just high pressure.
Cool.
So yeah, so there's no working bubbles out. It's just like they go away because there's a
Yeah,
flow.
well, I understand the resin process and the other pewter process is kind of a lot like chocolate. I mean, I've molded chocolate before, and you have to vibrate. In chocolate, you vibrate it out. You don't spin it.
Right.
Real messy.
Yeah, and there's some other big advantages to the plastics, particularly these injection plastics, which is a typical metal or resin model on that other molding process has 5 to 10% shrinkage when you're going from a sculpted green to your master to your production mold. There's a shrinkage, so then you have connection points, and you just kind of hope that with that kind of rate,
those don't shrink.
Well, they'll shrink, but you just hope that two sides shrink the same. Where one could shrink 10%, one could shrink 5%, and suddenly a connection point doesn't look right. Whereas I think
that explains a lot.
Yeah. It's one of those things where sometimes you just have to make the mold over again at additional cost because two parts are shrinking differently. Whereas with plastic, I think the shrinkage is like 0.01%. So you
and that probably changes from your formula too.
Exactly, and in addition, that since these were sculpted by digital artists as opposed to physical artists, the points are the connections are almost seamless in some regards. It's very nice, and even when they're not seamless, they are very small. You can sort of fill them much easier. So yeah, it's there's a lot of advantages when you get the right plastics involved.
So what's next for Wyrd?
Well, as I was explaining on the way over, Gen Con is like kind of the end of our year, so we everything new is here. Obviously, we came up with a new book for our third expansion for the game. Pretty much everything is in plastic, or actually everything is going to be coming in plastic for that book, which pretty much loads our release schedule for the next 6 to 7 months. So we're pretty set in that regard for the rest of the year. Obviously, we just came out with a card game that has been getting a ton of buzz, and Puppet Wars, which came out at Gen Con last year, is actually also going to get re-released in plastic. And all those puppets, and we're really trying. One of the nice things about plastic injection is once you make the mold, you get the plastic itself for cheaper than the metal. Obviously, that's what keeps the price down. So we can re-release Puppet Wars in a way that you get a ton more miniatures because it's the same mold. There's 12 puppets on the mold, and in the game you use 3 of them. So we're like, well, just throw 3 of those molds in, and you're good to go. So we'll be able to really pass the value on that way on that product. So. Yeah, so, and we also have a few other things, and we were talking about RPG on the way over here, and
it sounds exciting.
And a few other projects, but yeah, we have people in place. They just opened a development office, so it's more than now Malifaux, or now Wyrd. I just made the same mistake. Now Wyrd is more than basically just me and some people in remote locations. We actually have an office, so I think you'll see a lot more.
I think you got the office earlier in the year, February.
No, it was.
I remember for a long time you were all over the country. Wasn't one of them was from Canada originally?
We have a couple in the UK. No one in Canada right now.
Oh, I didn't know. I haven't met anybody.
Yeah, there's a few people from California, got a couple of people from Michigan. Yeah, they were all over the place. So now with an office, we're able to get a lot done, and
offices
really push ahead a lot more projects than we could before.
Turned my basement into an office. It helps.
Yeah, it certainly does.
It really does. It's a mindset.
Yeah.
So about the RPG.
Yeah.
Do you know what the basic mechanic is going to be? Like, is it going to be a D20 system? Is it going to be a percentile? Is it going to be an explosive die system? Is it going to be a card system?
Well, considering that it was based on Malifaux,
that's where I think
you'll see cards.
That'll be interesting.
Yeah, and we have a lot of we have just like for Malifaux, we have a lot of sort of innovative plans that have a neat mechanic and a neat system that I don't think we've really seen anywhere else.
Basically a diceless system.
I can't promise diceless, but yeah, you won't.
Now, I guess that'll wrap it up for this
Okay.
interview. We'll move over there real quick and
Sounds good.
move the camera and get some close-ups of these.
Mm-hmm.
And thank you for your time.
Yeah. Glad to be here.
Gamers, Matt Lemke with your gamer goggles, Gen Con 2012. Maybe you'll see the role-playing game next year at 2013.
Well,
You can fold. That is something else. That is really nuts.
yeah, that's the. I mean, obviously you can break it if you work on it too hard, but
Well, if you don't take good care of it and you put it in your army builder bag the wrong way,
Right.
you're gonna snap it. And
Obviously,
there's no way around it. I mean, it is plastic and it's small, and you're definitely stronger than it is. But I mean, as far
you have
as
to put some effort into breaking it.
you have to put effort into it or be absolutely careless.
Yeah. Get those in there too.
Yeah, we brought them. We might as well use them.
Yeah.
And these are the 10 Thunders Archers, which you wanted to show off a little bit because they've got some really interesting parts.
Those bows are about as thin as you can get,
And look at these arrows. And they're actually pretty rigid.
yeah, they're quite resilient.
Of course, there's the guy waving and saying fire. That doesn't. Oh, that's a really long, like a Daiku bow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, check that out.
Yeah.
That is slick.
Actually, all that's missing is a string, and we couldn't figure out how to do that.
Yeah, strings are tough. They break easy no matter what you do. A lot of guys, when I was playing fantasy, said that I had to actually take thread and put them on my bows to make it complete in tabletop. I'm like, haha, why don't you do it for me?
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, this is really cool.
And these do
Another sprue in here, or is those bases?
that's just bases, and they do go together with plastic glue, so you don't have to use super glue if you don't like to. I actually love plastic glue because it doesn't stick to your fingers.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Plastic glue is a solvent, not a.
I thought the Zap-A-Gap was a solvent too.
But yeah, so you can literally hold these things together. They'll bond pretty quick, and then when you take them apart, they're not stuck to your fingers. They don't stick to your fingers at all. And also plastic glue you can drop on your clothes, and it won't make that annoying
Hard spot?
hard spot on your clothes.